All right, so now let's talk about biology specifically. In biology, in science in general, but specifically in biology, we have a couple of different careers that are very common in biology. Zoologists are the people who study animals, botanists are the people who study plants, and paleontologists, also considered a type of biologist that studies ancient life. Those are the ones we see that are looking for fossil remains and so forth. It is through their work that they provided us with one of the theories toward proving Pangea. Let me take that back. Not toward proving Pangea, but rather toward believing in the theory of Pangea. Now, biology in those studies is divided up into levels. We start off, remember when we talked about the fruit, for example, back in the second video, I told you that these fruits were the necessary, essential beginnings, if you will, of life, because you're going to obtain that material to use that as energy. But within that material, there aren't what we would call cells. You're talking about molecules put together to make that fruit. So life starts at the cell, but without the molecule, you can't obtain that beginning. So it kind of starts out at the molecular level to then go into the cellular level, and from there we have the organism. Before there's a couple of steps, and then we get into populations, ecosystems, communities, and then eventually comprising the whole thing, the biosphere. So let's break that down into a little more depth. So we have our groups of atoms, the smallest unit in a chemical compound. Okay? Now, you put certain atoms together and you have your molecules, right? Now, so we have a molecule like, let's say, for example, a water molecule. It's a combination of what? Hydrogen, 2 hydrogen, 1 oxygen, right? Now, you combine that in a certain pattern, if you will, or a certain sequence, along with other atoms, and you're going to start making molecules that will make something. Your organelles inside of your cells are made that way. Now, where life begins is at the level of the cell. The cell is the basic unit of life. Cell theory, that is probably the first major component in cell theory, is stating that the cell is the basic unit of life. It is the smallest functional unit that is considered to be independently alive. Now, you take all the cells and put them together, and you end up with a group of cells known as tissue. Okay? Now, when the body layers and layers and layers those tissue, then you develop what? An organ. When you connect this organ and this organ and another organ and another organ, you come up with what? You come up with an organ system. Now, when you connect the various organ systems together, like for example, an example of an organ system was going to be your digestive system. Another one, your respiratory system, your cardiovascular system, your nervous system. So you connect all those different systems together and you end up with the actual organism, you, for example. Now, the organism is that individual living thing. Yes, the cell is considered to be the individual living thing as well, but like I said, when you go through the process of cells to tissue, tissue to organ, organ systems, and put them together, you come up with the organism, which functions and is structured completely different than the cell, even though it's made of cells. So then you have the organism. Now what about when you have several of the same organisms put together in an area? We call that a population. Okay? So it's a group of organisms of one type that live in that same area. But in that area, that population may or may not be the only organism that lives there. So it may have to share the area with other populations. So when you have various populations living together, you have a community. So you had the one organism of zebra, but then you put it together with all the other zebras, and you have that population of zebra. Take this population with this population, and this one, you comprise a community. Now in a community we have living things and non-living things. So how they interact with each other, in other words, how that zebra interacts with water, how this iguana interacts with this rock, excuse me, is going to be your ecosystem. The community along with its non-living surroundings. Now when you take all the various ecosystems and you put them all together, you end up with our biosphere, the living portion of the planet, slightly below the surface of the earth and slightly above our ocean level. Okay? All these levels, smaller living systems, are found within the biggest level of all, our biosphere. Now again, in biology is not just coming to class and learning about excuse me, DNA and plants and animals and so forth. We learn about the aspect of biology out in the real world. Biology is tremendously closely related to medicine. Because what is biology? It's the study of what? It's the study of life. And what is medicine? The care of that life. Keep in mind that as doctors help us and treat us and allow us to, or give us the advice rather, and guide us to leading healthier lives and to help us when we're sick, everything that a doctor learns in med school is first discovered by a scientist in a lab. Okay? So keep that in mind. The biologists, not saying that biologists are more important than doctors, but they are the foundation, if you will, toward a lot of what we know and a lot of what we learn in something like medicine. Biology provides us with information about the food that we eat so that we know what diets work and what diets don't work. Biology provides us with information regarding the health of organisms, not just us, but in all organisms for that matter. What behaviors, what diseases and so forth and all that can be harmful to us. Biology is used, like I said, the information a doctor uses, he gets from biology to be able to treat medical problems, to be able to discover environmental factors that might be detrimental to your health. Biology helps us to understand what we refer to as the quality of life. The things that we do, the things that we don't want to do. 9 out of 10 times you go to the doctor is going to tell you, oh, if you want to live a healthier life, chances are he or she may put you on a diet. Why is he doing that? To improve the quality of life. They may say that based on blood work, you might lack a certain nutrient or a certain element of some sort in your body. Your blood lacks iron. You lack a sufficient amount of calcium for your bones. Things like that. What are they trying to do? They're trying to make your quality of life better. They are decision makers, if you will. And in essence, really, you are the final and ultimate decision maker. But in biology, we put all this together and we use that information not just to make the quality of life immediately better for you, but overall. we try to improve the planet. Because if we improve the planet, we do what? We improve things for us. Okay? That is basically the end of scientific method. Please take your time to review all 3 of the videos so that you better prepare yourself for the test.